All right, welcome to the 18th Mile podcast. This is episode 3, where I'll be talking about nutrition and supplementation for my journey to 315 and my journey to Vienna. Now, this is an area I think a lot of people overlook. Oftentimes, you'll hear in training and in general fitness that most people really only worry about the training plan, how many days a week they have to train, how often they have to lift, or how often they have to run. Um, and then the other topic that's also very popular is what kind of protein powder should I take, or what kind of supplements, or what kind of this and that. But at the end of the day, the biggest part of any kind of fueling and fitness journey is nutrition. Nutrition's a massive part. It is the reason people gain weight, people lose weight. It is the reason you'll have energy for long runs. In my instance, it is also the reason that you won't lose weight or gain muscle, or you'll burn out at mile 12 of a 16-mile run because you haven't fueled properly. And so that's a big part, is nutrition. And then on top of nutrition, once you have that figured out, once that's sorted, then you can move on to say, okay, let's see what supplements I need to take to improve performance. Let's see what is out there that can further benefit me and push me further than I already am, just through nutritional eating. And so once you combine the three of physical training that we discussed in episode 2, nutrition, which is probably the most important of all three, and then top that off with using the right supplements for your goals, and then you'll have probably the optimal performance, excluding other factors such as sleep. And honestly, sleep is probably the other big one. And I don't do that well enough to talk about it, but there's a lot of other stuff happening of people talking about sleep, and so I'll just leave that to them. So I'll just start with my overall nutritional goals, i.e. general macros, and then I'll chat through how I plan on fuel before different things such as long runs, short runs, tempo runs, and also how I plan to fuel after runs. And then I'll walk through the supplement stack, or more accurately, the vitamin stack that I plan on taking for this journey over the next 4 months. And this is a lot of these things I already do in general life, so it shouldn't change too much. And that should be the goal, right? Anyway, is to kind of have a lifestyle. So when you start new goals and new journeys like this, it isn't too much of a change or too much of a jump, especially when you're trying to get a lot better than you had previously done. So first off, just overall nutritional goals. Here I'll be talking about macros. And so for those of you that don't know, macros is essentially the 3 macronutrients that make up a diet, i.e. proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And so every day I'll try and hit this goal with the purpose behind my numbers of getting enough protein to repair my muscles and provide fuel for my muscles as I keep on lifting during the process and allow them to repair themselves. Carbohydrates, because, well, you need carbohydrates, you need glycogen stores when you run. When you do a lot of running, you don't want to burn up your body's reserves. And then 3, fats, because you just need fats in your diet for healthy hormone function. And there's some of the foods that are high in fat, like avocado and eggs, they taste good to me, so I like to have a little higher fat number in my diet anyway. And then I want to drink a gallon of water a day on top of whatever electrolyte drink I'm drinking during my runs. So my overall goals here is 200 grams of protein a day, 450 grams of carbs a day. That might change to 350 on lower intensity runs, and then fats of 100 grams a day. So these all equate to about 3,500 calories. And the way you can calculate that for yourself as well, for depending on what you want to do, is general rule of thumb is 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per body weight. So in this case, I weigh 180, so I'd eat about 200 grams of protein. On an intensive running program, carbs probably should be 50 to 60% of your calories. So in this case, mine it's just over 50%, and then fats make up the rest of it. And so proteins and carbs each have 4 kilojoules of energy per gram, and fats have 9. And so you can just multiply these grams by 4, and in terms of fats by 9, and then you'll get your total calorie requirement. And so 3,500 is a good amount for me, just because I'll be running a lot, I'll be lifting, and then I do jiu-jitsu as more of a hobby now, and so that'll also burn a lot of calories. So I think this should be sufficient to fuel my body throughout whatever training I'm doing, and allow me to still train properly and put in the performance I need when I'm going running. So yeah, now that we've covered the actual macros and the general plans, I want to go over a breakdown of how I plan on fueling the night before long runs, the day of a long run, and then how I plan on fueling during runs, depending on the kind of run it is, and then also afterwards. And so before runs, the night before, especially if it's a long run, this will probably apply less to shorter runs, just because you don't need that much fueling. This will be more of Saturday night meals before Sunday long run, or Tuesday night meals before Wednesday interval day, or like before the actual race. So I'll have to be experimenting with the kind of meals I want to do, but typically the night before you want a high carb meal. And so obviously everyone's heard of carb loading. And so this is just we eat a ton of carbs 2-3 days before a race or an event to really pump up those glycogen levels. And so you have enough in store for when you go running, you don't run out of energy and just crash, honestly. And so I'll probably aim at eating a type of pasta where most of the meal is carbs. And then the second part of that pasta would probably be meat to get my protein in. And so that would be the kind of high carb meal I'll be looking at. I might change it. I might change the carb to be more rice or quinoa, or I'm not sure yet. Those are just the three main ones I eat on my general diet anyway. So probably stick to those. But yeah, like I mentioned, you want to carb load about 2 or 3 days before a big event like a marathon, and you want to eat about 8 times your weight in kilos and grams of carbs, to build up those storages. And so to convert that for me from pounds, so I weigh about 80 to 82 kilograms, and so for simplicity, I'll just take 80 multiplied by 8. That's about 640 grams of carbs, and so that would be about 3 to 4 times my body weight in pounds. So I weigh 180, and if you times that by 3, it's 540, and by 4, it's 720. So I'm right somewhere in the middle there. And so it's probably just a general rule of thumb anyone can use. If you use kilograms or pounds, I know there's people in the US refuse to use kilograms, and people everywhere else refuse to use pounds. So there you go. Now everyone's happy. And so the day of, probably I'll aim at eating about 50 to 90 grams of carbs, about 30 to 60 minutes before run, probably 60 minutes, closer to 60 minutes if it's more carbs. And so this will probably look like a piece of whole wheat toast with strawberry jam, or half a cup of oats with blueberries and bananas and honey, and maybe a little scoop of protein powder in there. And so that would be something I'll probably eat on before a Sunday run, would be the cup of oats. But the piece of toast and jam, which is very simple, I want to eat before every run. And so even the short runs, like 3 or 4 mile runs, because last year my feeling sucked. I didn't eat anything before a lot of my runs, but I think this year I want to try and do that differently. And so strawberry and a piece of toast before every run, because I saw somewhere on a website that someone who's a running expert or a very experienced runner mentioned that she eats before every run, and that's like a rule of thumb of her. It doesn't matter if it's a 2 mile run or a 20 mile run. And so I want to try that. I want to see how that benefits me, because last year I did the pull ups. I didn't eat anything. And so I'm going to skip the middle and just go straight to eating. So, and I like eating, so it works out for the better. Now, during runs, the general rule of thumb is, again, 30 to 60 grams of carbs per hour. And then if you're doing something like an ultra, you'll have to add protein as well, but that's outside of our zone of interest. So on a short run, I wouldn't do any fueling. Anything below 6 miles, I'll just rely on whatever I have and my piece of toast and jam, and just jam out the run and just kill it. On tempo runs, which is Wednesdays, I would do 30-60. I'll aim to get one goo gel in, which has 22 grams of carbs per little goo. And then I use BPN, or Bare Performance Nutrition's G1M Sport, as like my mixed drink. And that has 20 grams of carbs per scoop and 350 milligrams of sodium, so it helps with cramping as well. And so I'll just do a couple sips of that somewhere in the middle point, and that should get me to my just goal of carbs. And I typically, on these tempo runs and long runs, I'll drink a G1M scoop mix before my run already, and then I'll have another one during my run, just to build up that pre-level carbs to go with my toast or whatever meal I have, and just build up that sodium level. And so during my run as well, I'm just topping off on that. I'm not starting from zero. On long runs, I'll do a goo gel every 45 minutes or 4 to 4.5 miles. That seemed to have helped in the past and seemed to have worked well. One thing I change, and me and Kurt talk about this next week, is I'd probably use less caffeinated goo gels and use more of a mix. Last year we used only caffeinated goo gels, and that caused some GI issues. And so this year we'll try and have a little more of a mix. I'll have a mix of caffeinated and non-caffeinated to try and avoid that issue. So goo gel every 45 minutes or 4 to 4.5 miles. And then I'll have a scoop of G1M in my handheld bottle, which typically lasts about 12 to 13 miles. So any run shorter than 13 miles, I'm good to go. And then anything longer, I'll just pack in an extra handheld bottle. And then, especially if it's an intense run, I think I might aim at doing maybe 1.5 or 2 scoops of G1M, just to get that extra little bit of boost. Because even you might think that if you're running and you take a goo or you take a sip of G1M, you might think that that doesn't make a difference. It actually, almost immediately, within 2 to 3 minutes, you feel a massive difference in your energy levels, and you feel a little bit less tired, which I never expected. I didn't think a goo or an energy drink or an electrolyte drink would act that fast, but it definitely does. It makes a massive difference. And so I'll aim at doubling down with that this year, and just almost, I don't think increasing the levels within a reasonable amount would hurt me at all. So, and then after runs, I'll probably have a little snack, 30 minutes post run. I don't know what that would be. That would just be something easy, I guess, like a protein shake or just something to get something back in my system. And then about 2 hours afterwards, I'll have a very big carb and protein rich meal to repair my body and restore my energy levels. And the big meal is most important on intense days like long runs or tempo runs. And so, for example, last year I would always have a family-sized lasagna from Tom Thumb, which is a store in America, but I'd always buy the family-sized one and just destroy that after my Sunday runs. And I might do something similar to that this year, because that was something I looked forward to every week, is just eating some lasagna, watching some sports, and just hanging out. It was a great time. But yeah, so that's the overall nutrition. As a recap, making sure your carbs are high enough and your proteins are high enough for restoring your energy levels, repairing your muscles. Then making sure you fuel properly before intense runs, especially before intense runs, the night before and the day of about an hour before. And then during long runs or intense runs, making sure you have some sort of form of energy sport. So I used goo gels and G1M, but other people use gummies, or I don't know, maybe they pack some bananas. I've heard people take, like some ultra runners will take wheat tortillas and hummus. And so it really just depends on you. And so next would be the actual supplementation. This is the part that gets all the glory all the glory because of its protein powders and frickin' amino acids and BCAAs and which vitamins am I taking. But if you do the training and the nutrition right, this part is a very small part of it, and it will benefit you. But the other two things will is if you know about the 80-20 principle, the other stuff provides 80% of the results. And we spend like 20% of the time on them instead of, it should be the other way around. But so my supplementation in general, and what honestly anyone who's running a lot should take, would be iron, which I do. I'm not going to take an iron pill or vitamin because I eat a lot of red meat and it's high in iron. Calcium, I will be taking calcium, I guess, vitamins, because running adds a lot of stress in your bones and your skeletal structure. Calcium will help just promote that bone health, and I think it's just good to have in general for your general health and well-being. Zinc, which will help improve your recovery from workouts. It's also very good for your immune system and metabolism. This is something I take already, and it can only help, I think. And then two magnesium difference. So one thing about magnesium is each different magnesium plays a different part in your body. It targets a different part in your body. And this is something a lot of people don't realize, is they just buy magnesium and hope for the best. But magnesium is very specific, which depending on the type of it is. And someone like a Dr. Andy Huberman breaks it down a lot better than I do. But this is a decent misconception, I think. But my two magnesiums would be threonate. And so magnesium threonate is something that helps with brain function, cognitive health. And this is something I just take in general already, and so I want to keep on taking that. And then magnesium glycinate, which helps with anti-inflammatory, promotes protein and DNA synthesis, and just calms and relaxes your body. So I think it's a good thing to have under a stressful routine and workout routine. Vitamin D3, this is important. It's gotten a lot of light and mainstream fame, I guess. And so I live in the UK right now, and so you kind of have to in the winter months. And I know a lot of people in the US or any northern hemisphere country really need to take vitamin D3 in the winter just to help with that seasonal depression. But it helps our body absorb calcium. It helps with hormone health, and it also has some anti-inflammatory properties. Another one would be omega-3 fatty acids. And so this is another just general staple supplement that a lot of people take, and improves your heart health, improves our immune system, and helps, again, with inflammation. And then another one is vitamin B12, and this promotes energy levels. And so I think vitamin B is very important, especially when you're running a lot, when you're doing intense working out, when you're working long hours even, and just in general life, or if you're studying for an intense degree and you're not getting a lot of sleep. Vitamin B can help with your energy levels and help you really perform at a higher level. And then the last one I'll take would be potassium. And this will help maintain hydration and proper muscle function. And so I'll break these out depending on when I want to take them, between morning and night. The morning is when I'll take most of them, which would be calcium, zinc, magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B12, and then potassium. And then one more thing I take in general is just a general joint pill. And I want to keep my joints healthy. It's a thing that a lot of people struggle with later in life, and especially people who have done a lot of sports. And so I want to try and keep them as healthy as possible for as long as possible. And then the two I'll take at night will be magnesium threonate, and then L-theanine is another one. And then these two just help with really getting relaxed and in the evenings and falling asleep. I'll be honest, I don't know. I can't remember what L-theanine does. I've read about it, but I know Andrew Huberman recommends it in his sleep protocol, and so I trust his info, and so I just throw it in there. Sleeping is going to be very important over the next few months, and so I want to try and relax as much as possible and just get that right. But yeah, so that's all the nutrition and supplementation I plan on doing over the next 4 months. A lot of it is the same as what I've been doing for the last 24 months, honestly. But I'll just try and be more locked in this time. Try and take a goal of taking them at least 5 days a week. Sometimes I forget. And so 5 days a week is the initial goal. And then I think to improve that and also improve my stretching, I might use some habit stacking, which if you've read Atomic Habits, it is a very powerful way of building new habits. And a lot of people have spoken about that, so I'm not going to go into that. But next week, I'm actually very excited. It'll be my first guest episode, and it'll be with my buddy Kurt. And it was a good time talking to him again and just catching up. But we just chatted about a journey for Dallas, what we didn't expect, what were the benefits, honestly, of just training for something, our experience on race day, and then he did a half Ironman recently in Tempe, Arizona. And so we just chatted through that, the similarities between that and another, like a marathon event, the differences and similarities in training, and just how our actual race day went for him for that. So have a look out for that. That'll come out next week. And similar to last time, if you have any feedback for the podcast in terms of what information did I miss that you know I missed, how can I make it better, that would be greatly appreciated, and appreciate any feedback. And then this will come out probably the day before Christmas or Christmas. So to anyone listening, have a Merry Christmas. And I hope you have a great day with whomever you spend it, friends or family, and just truly enjoy it. And it's a great time of year, honestly. And let's enjoy that day and get back to work right after that. And let's crush whatever goals we have for 2024, because that's also coming up. So if you haven't yet, think about your 2024 goals. Do a look back and really analyze 2023. Where did you crush it? Where did you not crush it, really? And let's see, because I'm going to do the same thing. I've been thinking about 2024 and I really want to make it a good one. So if we can all freaking crush 2024, the world's going to be a great place. So, all right. Have Merry Christmas and see you guys. Bye.